Hey, what's up, fellow boxing fans? Well, I'm gonna be doing only one fight for this weekend because that's the only one that's really, I feel worth talking about and where I know the fighters, you well enough. So that it is Vergil Ortiz Jr. His comeback against Serhii Bohachuk. Yes, so Vergil Ortiz didn't fight in 2023, and then after that, this year he had two very short fights, which he won by first round knockout, both of them. And now he's facing the Ukrainian Bohachuk, who holds the WBC interim super welterweight title, which he won against Brian Mendoza in March 30th. Yeah, I mean, Bohachuk was very impressive in that fight. Mendoza was coming off his biggest win over Sebastian Fundora. He did lose to Team 2 before that, but he also was the first guy to beat and knock out Fundora, and also Jason Rosario before that. So, I think quite many were picking Mendoza to win that fight, but Bohachuk was definitely better, and he dropped also Mendoza, if I remember correctly. And yeah, Vergil Ortiz Jr. is 21 and 0, and all of his wins are by KO. Of course, he's 26 years old. He's 5'10", but Bohachuk is even taller at 6 feet. Yeah, and has got 3 inches reach advantage. Yes, so Bohachuk only has one loss. That was to Brandon Adams 3 years ago. Yeah, it was 3 years ago. March 21. That was his only loss when he was stopped by TKO in the 8th round. But since then he's really bounced back very well, and scored 6 victories. He also knocked out Nathaniel Gallimore and Aaron Coley, and yeah, I mean he has been very impressive lately, and yeah, he's 29 years old, and so of course he's still in his best age, and I don't doubt that he can really not just give Ortiz Jr. the best fight, uh, but maybe even make an upset. Who knows? I mean, the good thing about Bohachuk is that he has power, definitely. He actually only has one win by decision so far. That was against Mendoza, so that was very impressive. However, he also can box, when he has to, and with his height and reach, he's just a pretty, formidable opponent for anybody. The only, of course, question mark is, around that loss to Brandon Adams, who himself, was no bum, definitely, but, you might wonder, I haven't seen that fight, why he lost the way he did to him, and, yeah, but, anyway, that's behind him now. I mean, Brandon Adams definitely, can punch, and he's a very good fighter in his own right. But yeah, that was 3 years ago. So, you learn from every loss, of course. And the problem with Vergil Ortiz is that he hasn't really been in a real fight now since 22, when he stopped Michael McKinson in 9 rounds. So, yeah, I mean, before that, I think his best, most impressive victory was against Kavaliauskas, whom he also stopped and Maurice Hooker, of course, Mo. And yeah, I mean, he did stop everybody, of course. And yeah, but the big question mark when it comes to him is his form, and not having been in many real tough fights. Also, that's another thing. How will he take what Bohachuk has to offer? Bohachuk really applies pressure, and he's a fighter who dominates, his opponents like he did with Mendoza, and pretty much. But he also has really good stamina, and you know he kept up that domination throughout. Like in the late rounds, he was also, I believe, when he scored the knockdown also, and yeah, he and of course Ortiz hasn't been past 9 rounds actually, right? Yeah. So this was the only time he also actually was uh, past the 8 also, of course. I mean, only against Kaliauskas has he gone past the 7th round and McKinson. So, and Bohachuk is a kind of, has been, the whole 12 before. Even though also he has quite many early knockouts. And, but he has shown he can do it, and very well. And yeah, so this is his big chance to shine, and he holds the WBC interim title. So, if he wins this, he will get a shot for the full title, of course. If he loses, and should he lose by a knockout, of also, which can happen, of course, you talking about Vergil Ortiz, the destroyer. I mean, if he loses, of course, to be back to the waiting line and yeah, him not being from the U.S. or Mexico or whatever, Puerto Rico, it's not guaranteed, really to. It's not guaranteed that the establishment will take care of him, But he's already accomplished quite a lot. But if he should win this fight, wow, this will be a signal that he may be the next big thing at 154. And yeah, I mean, if you look at the Ukrainian boxers, for instance, there have been some misses among them. There have been some hopes that didn't really, you know, deliver, like Yevgen Kitov, for instance. And but there have been also some really serious players and stars, like of course Usyk, Lomachenko, and for a while also Gvozdyk looked like he could become one of them. Of course, in the end, it turned out there were some really, guys in that division he couldn't overcome. And yeah, Ukraine is never short of boxing talents, definitely, and fly. But the big question is how will he take Ortiz's power? That's the big question. Nobody has yet been able to take it very well in the end of his period, or very long either, So it says a lot when nobody has been able to go 10 rounds against him. And few have been able to go past the 6th, so only a couple of them, 3, maybe 4, I don't know. So, yeah, that's the big question. And I think Bohachuk does seem like a tough guy, definitely. And usually these fighters from the old Soviet Union are known for their toughness and resilience, but still, big punching power is big punching power. You cannot deny. Nobody really can take it too well against a puncher like Ortiz. So that's the big question. So of course, All in all, considered, despite the inactivity and two very short fights he's had since, Ortiz is the strongest candidate on paper to win, seemingly anyway. However, Bohachuk seems to have maybe a little more up his sleeve than Ortiz. Ortiz is very, capable, athletic, and hits very hard, very capable when it comes to knocking out people. But sometimes you run into that one guy you cannot knock out, and that one guy may well be Bohachuk for Ortiz. What if he cannot do it? Of course, then I would think that Bohachuk will bounce back and maybe strong in the second half if he doesn't get taken out within 6, 7, or 8 rounds. He will bounce back strong, and that can be a problem for Ortiz, who has never gone even 10 rounds, and not talk about past 10. So yeah, and also given his inactivity and two very short fights, as I said, it can all pose a problem for him. Of course, it may well happen that he will knock out. He may happen to knock out Bohachuk in only 3, 4, 5 rounds, maybe. But I wouldn't expect that for sure. If I were you, I wouldn't bet on that. So Bohachuk doesn't strike me as a guy who gets knocked out so easily. And even against Adams, he was stopped in the 8th round, so it was a TKO. It wasn't a clean knockout. So anyway, yeah. So I would think probably if a knockout should happen, it will probably be Ortiz knocking out Bohachuk. But if it goes a distance, then Bohachuk may be the favorite. Yeah, I think, to win it. And even if Ortiz should get tired in the end, which may well happen, as I said, given all the factors that I now already, brought out, then, he may well be stopped also late, But if that happens, wow, what a victory for Bohachuk, of course. No denying there, So yeah, those were my thoughts on this. As I said, I stopped doing predictions because it can be very frustrating sometimes to make up your mind. So yeah, I give you 2 alternative scenarios instead. So I hope that's all right. All right, that was all for this time. As I said, only one fight. So see you soon and bye.